All right, my man, Henry, I'm making this video for you, um, mostly because I value your feedback, and this is something that we're going to be working on for the next couple of weeks. So, over the last 2 weeks, it was the holidays, and although I had some wonderful time with fam, I also had seemingly 2 weeks of kind of anxiety inducing thoughts around the business. And really there was a lot of questions that I was asking and, you know, I was like, what can I do to set people up for the greatest 2021 of their life? And I was like, okay, well, not necessarily, do I need to add anything, but almost like if you could coach yourself through this, what would you need? Not that I won't be here or maybe quitting or anything like that, but I was just like, what kind of tools could I give you so that you felt like, okay, I can at least kind of keep myself moving, and then I'll ask Mark if I want speed, clarity, or anything like that. And so I started thinking of, well, I know how to kind of, you know, analyze my performance fitness wise. So what kind of structure do I have um, around fitness and health and how I would coach myself. And the basically the three questions that it all kind of boiled down to was like, all right, so what number one is, at the end of the year in 12 months, in 3 years, in 5 years, like where if I had the perfect life, where would I be happiest? And what would that look like? You kind of dream, this if this was what my life was like. And obviously in terms of happiness, there's wealth, health, and relationships. We're just kind of talking about the health part. But, in 3 years, if I looked and performed and did like this would be perfect because it would allow me to do X, right? So kind of where am I going? Right. And obviously, what does that look like in detail? The second question is, well, how do I get there? And so that is like the literal steps that we're going to bridge the gap from where you're at now to where you want to go. And obviously, we can break down these goals into the next month, the next 3 months, the next 6 months. It doesn't have to be like we have to get super specific over the next 5 years, but you know what I'm saying? Like, how do I get there? And we can even break it down into daily goals and hour long goals and all that kind of stuff. And then the third thing was obstacles are just a natural part of the whole progression. So, if I'm lifting, kind of how do I come up with circumstances where I still can achieve my goals, even if I'm sick one day, or I get injured, or I go to a party and I overeat and stuff like that. So, kind of how do I handle this obstacle um, thing, in my life? And so, currently, so basically what we've got is, when you signed on to the program, we kind of talked about this dessert first program, which was how do you eat to lose weight? But again, going over those questions, what I noticed was I didn't have the first part, which is creating the vision for where you're going. And also part of that was I realized that a lot of people just are looking for a diet because they don't have a clear idea of where they want to go. So it's almost like which diet is going to help me get out of pain versus actually going specifically to a certain spot. So, and the pain is obviously being overweight and feeling sluggish and all that stuff. So if we have greater clarity around where am I going, then obviously then the dessert first, the how, the second part is going to be allow us to execute on this plan so much better because then we're excited about what we're doing. And then the third thing was, am I able to get there? Right. So in theory, if you do, everybody kind of knows what they need to do to lose weight. But a lot of the times people are like, I don't want to do that because things come up and get in my way, whether it's a thought pattern or, some sort of previous relationship I have with food or relationships with other people who don't support me or whatever it is. So kind of how can we handle the obstacles and remove them, confront them, whatever it is, so that when we do have the dessert first program, we're able to really kind of set ourselves up for success and get there faster, with less stress. So what we've got is, um, this is going to be in addition, to your program. And really, it's not necessarily like you're going to have to do more stuff. What it is we're going to create more of a curriculum and guidance and structure around these other two questions: the where am I going, and then how do I handle all the things that are getting in my way, right? How do I handle the obstacles? How am I actually able to do that? So what I'm going to need from you is, again, um, I'm going to start putting all of this stuff into a membership site. So if you and I make videos together and I'm explaining something, what I'll do is I'll record it and then I'll save it into the membership site, and then you can go back to it and reference it, or obviously we could chat about it some more. But I'm going to need basically two things from you. The first one is kind of the major one: is as we're going through this and I'm creating the structure and the guidance and the thought patterns, what I'd love is your feedback, and not necessarily like, oh, this is great, and oh, I like this, and I like, that's fine. But also what I'd like to do is I'd love for you to give me some clarifying questions, like explain what you mean. What does that mean for me? Like, that's too confusing. Can you break that down a little bit more? And those kinds of things will allow me to understand, like, how to explain it better for somebody who's learning this new. And I'm sure you know these skills in kind of your, professional life, but when it comes to health, which is something you're working on, like, this is a skill that we're refining. Um, so, and obviously I find you very intelligent, very well spoken. I respect you a lot. So anyways, your feedback will be very helpful for me. And then the second thing, which is kind of related, but kind of not, but I'm kind of thinking of, like, if you just had one quick win, you're like, man, if I just knew this, I could make so much progress. Not that it would solve your problem, but you're like, if I just knew this, um, what I'd like to do is, in the new year, I'd like to do little mini workshops, little maybe hour, 2 hour workshops where we kind of work on one specific thing. Obviously, all dealing with health, but ways where it's like, man, if I could just learn this little bit, because I had so many questions about it, or it's just so frustrating, or whatever. If I could just learn this, I could be so much better. Because I think that's a great way of kind of taking this big, what's really tough about health coaching is it takes time, and like weeks and months, because that's just how weight loss happens, and fat loss and strength gain. It just takes time. So, if I can take one thing and say, like, hey, listen, we're going to, for an hour, hour and a half, or 2 hours, or whatever it is, we're going to do a deep dive on this one topic, and then you're going to leave with all these tools, and you're going to feel like a badass. Like, that's one thing that is I'd like to do in 2021. So, what are some, so the second thing is, and you can give me that stuff back ASAP, is, what's one big win? Is it choosing what to eat? Is it, yeah, like, what is it? So anyways, hopefully this was helpful for you. This is just really kind of some guidance around kind of what I'm going to be doing behind the scenes, because hopefully, I'm working hard. I want to create stuff to help you, and some guidance. And I think this is really kind of major missing pieces in terms of this program, to help you see kind of unlimited. Not that you're going to achieve all of your goals in a month or 2 months or whatever, but I want to give you the tools so that this is something you just work on, kind of almost effortless for the rest of your life. So yeah, send me an email, something like